welcome to hashtag Popcorn Horror Fest day 25. It's made me sick. I'm not very well. I feel miserable. A horrible stinking cold and my nose doesn't work to breathe out of. So what can make me feel better? Why? Watching a horror film, of course. Tonight we're watching Saw. Again, it was one that I chose. It's the 10th anniversary this year of Saw, which makes me feel incredibly old. And yeah, and who knew that it would spawn so many ridiculous sequels. I have to say, I think Saw, the original movie, is probably the one that I enjoy the most. I think the concept starts wearing a little thin after a while with all the spin-offs. So it's been a while since I've seen it. I have seen it since I first saw it, but it's been a while since I last watched it. So it'd be interesting to see if I still like it. Russ has kind of left the room. Russ! Where have you gone? Come here.
What's going on?
Come here. Why did you disappear?
I've been doing things.
Doing things.
Things.
So, Saw.
Correct.
How are you feeling about seeing it?
Intrigued.
It's a weird blue light coming down. Looks like a lightsaber.
Yeah, it's from that happens.
Are you gonna make notes about it?
I am writing about Saw.
What have you got so far?
I'm not really making notes on Saw at all. That was all a lie.
So, how do you feel about Saw? How do you feel about watching it again?
I think you get similar feelings to Final Destination yesterday. I feel like it was alright at the time, nothing special, and I guess made far too much money and spawned a whole bunch of needless sequels.
Okay, good. So, yeah, that's what we'll be watching. And see you in a minute. So, Saw.
We done Saw.
We did see Saw. I believe that was part of the promotional marketing slogan at the time.
Clever. They were very clever.
So, how does it hold up 10 years later?
I don't know. I never really felt it held up that well to begin with in the first place. I don't know if I'm the right person to be asking.
Really?
I mean, it's a film of. It's quite a fun little concept. A few nice moments, but the longer it goes on, the more it kind of, at least for me, kind of falls apart. And there are a few issues with the acting, especially the guy who wrote it and is starring in it is fairly poor, and when it's for a lot of the film it's just a double header between two guys, it kind of really stands out. Yeah, the acting's not world class. No. I mean, not that I'm expecting a lot from it, but just especially towards the end it kind of just borders on a little bit absurd when your doctor man's cutting his Lawrence has chopped his foot off and he's screaming and he just looks like he's been covered in white face paint and everyone's just freaking out. It's just a little bit, it just doesn't work for me. I don't know, I say the acting's not great, fine, but I remember when I watched it the first time I thought it was really clever, and although I know what's going to happen this time, so the suspense isn't there and the tension's not there in the same way, I can still appreciate that actually as a story it's actually quite a clever concept, and I do like the way that it's constructed in that it's like a puzzle, and each sort of scenario is set up like in that way. And I remember the first time I saw it, I did not see the twist coming at the end, all the way through. You think that Zepp is the maniac guy that's done all of this, and then you're like, oh my god, he was in the room the whole time. Yeah, and there's no way any human being will be able to lie there still for that amount of time. Yes, all right. If you look into anything too much, you find no, I know. Like but I think that's the thing. I mean, it was. I remember it being. I remember it being a good twist. I remember it being a shock, and I remember the tension being quite good. When I watched it the first time. When I watch it back,
I can still appreciate it was a good story, but it's not as engaging. So I don't think it's one of those films that I'd want to watch again and again and again, because it only really works the first time you see it. But and I don't like any of the sequels. Like I think
How many of them have you seen?
I think I've seen 2 and 3, and I kind of gave up after that.
I haven't seen any of them at all.
2 was alright, because it plays more on the puzzle bit. Everything's more of a series of puzzles, which I guess is fun. But yeah, they all just sort of got a bit silly after that. And and more into the sort of torture porn arena, and I didn't like that. But yeah, I think it was a good idea, good concept. Not necessarily the best executed, but it was it was their first film starting out, and I didn't realise it's the same director that directed The Conjuring, which is interesting. It was his first film.
Who's now moving on to the next Fast and Furious.
Oh really? That's interesting. I thought he only did horror films.
Up until now, I think he pretty much has done.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it was fun. Good effort. Well done. Good first try. So yeah, tomorrow we're watching
another early 2000s American horror film,
Cabin Fever, which I think is hilarious. Like, I just think it's funny. Yeah, I just think it's really funny.
Doesn't bode well.
And yeah, so yeah, Eli Roth. Let's see what that's like. So, have you seen Saw? Do you see Saw? Are you a fan? How do you feel about it? Let us know. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow for some cabin fevery things. To be honest, I feel like I've got a bit of cabin fever right now. I'm not feeling so good. See you tomorrow. Bye.